Alrighty, welcome back for another live stream. By popular demand, and by popular I mean two people have requested a live stream. So let's get it started. We'll start off on Bitcoin, and then we can get to some requests. A kind of an impromptu live stream here. Had some things get canceled, so I figured I'd hop on and do a couple updates here. We're going to look at Bitcoin primarily first, at least, and then we'll get to requests. So let's get right to it. Daily chart for Bitcoin. So we have a big move up here, and we have kind of two paths I could probably see forecasted out here for the next several days to maybe even a week or so. So first and foremost, are we going to move down to probably retest this yellow zone, which is from around 63K to 62K. And why is that zone there, right? It's just these previous swing high here, right? That area. Also, we have all these moving averages. You can see that the EMA 8 is the logical first spot we need to hold. On a downtrend, you start to reject at the EMA 8, as you can see here. On an uptrend, you want to try to hold that as support. So that's probably going to be around the 62, 63K level, which is right here. And you see the yellow path. This is over about the next week or so, roughly. If we hold this level and bounce, then I would expect a test in the not so distant future after that of 67K. Our previous swing high resistance flipped to support and will likely flip back to resistance around 67. So if we hold and bounce, that's the next spot. If we go under that, and let's say we close under the 21 EMA, the yellow line, which would likely be under 62K, then we very likely flip this level to resistance and probably retest, I would guess, this guy right here, the 200-day EMA. So wherever that might be, around 60 to 59K, I would say. Dr. Seuss, right? So, or we have a potential where we could start to form like an inverse head and shoulders here, where we kind of have this brief dip back down, 60K, 61K, hold it, form some kind of a weird sideways neckline, which inverse head and shoulders can be sideways. They don't always have to be exactly parallel. And then we'd be looking at like a break of 66, 67K to really get us up off out of the 60s and back to range highs. So I would look for something like that. And again, keep this in mind, this shoulder, if we form it, it could very well be right here, right? And we could look back in the hindsight and see that that was kind of the sideways neckline, sideways shoulder, still would break out, still would be just as tasty for the bulls. So this is what we're looking at, in my opinion, over the next 1 to 2 weeks. I would say by this time next week, we'll probably know if this is going to hold as support or resistance. So that's kind of what I got for at least a Bitcoin update. If anyone's got any requests, I'd like to get to some altcoins here shortly. Welcome in if you're watching this now or at a later point. You can feel free to fast forward, obviously, if you're watching this back. Anything else? We are watching, I want to look at altcoin dominance. Show you this real quick. So others dominance. So this is everything in crypto minus the top 10. So your stable coins are going to be out of this as well. If we can get this rising, right, ascending triangle formation to go, right, then we're still not out of the woods yet. If you want an alt season, right, this is what you want to be watching. Right, alt season likely starts up in this area. So could still likely be a few weeks out. I put this on X a couple hours ago, right? If you're not following me on X, go check it out there. We also have a Telegram group, which you can find a link under this channel, which will try to keep you updated on stuff like that. So if you want an alt season, it's going to take some time. It doesn't mean alts can't go up, but if you're wanting to see 100% moves inside of a week, that's likely an alt season, and that likely happens once we turn back macro bullish up in this area. So just throwing that out also on the daily chart. Maybe you've never seen that before. So time will tell. Again, look at the time frames. Like this is September out here. Even if we make a pretty straight shot, it's hard to believe we're not going to be, at least that time frame before we can get up that high. So some more patience is needed. I know it's been rough. All right, what else we got? Welcome in, everybody. Hello, hello. Let's start with Ondo. So I haven't updated my list this week, but I think Ondo is still on pretty much the blue, but we can check some of these. So let's go look at Ondo. So we're probably going to flip this back to green because we've closed 2 consecutive candles under the EMA 8 on the red. But we have averted from flipping this back to the orange. You can see our orange flip level here. Right, we have our color-coded system. If you're not familiar with this, blues are the strongest charts in crypto so far. Ondo is part of that, but probably going to have to downgrade it until it can close back above the EMA 8. 105, we're kind of knocking on the door still, so we'd like to see a close this week back above there. But you can see, look at this perfect retest of the 21 week, a bounce and a wick right off of it. And you see this thin purple line, not the thick one. The thin purple one, what the hell is that? That's the 20 SMA, also known as the medium line on the Bollinger Bands, which you can see how far the volatility is here, which is what you're going to get when you have a move that explosive. But that's what you want to see. If your coin comes down and retests the 21 week and then bounces, strong sign for the bulls. Looks good there. Zoom into the daily. Anytime you close under the 21, like the yellow line on any chart, 21 EMA, that's when the trouble can start. And textbook, exactly what I'm talking about right here. Look at the close back below here. And that really was where we started to our downtrend, right? If we would have held there and gone back up, looking to form a higher high, but we didn't. We wicked up, grabbed one final grasp of air just above that upper Bollinger Band, and then send it down. And now we're testing. Here's the 100-day EMA in the blue. Right, we've flirted with flipping this orange, but we got back out of it pretty quick. We're still not out of here yet, right? You can see loosely that that Ondo is like still kind of battling this previous support level. Now trying to, not flip it to resistance, but it is already for the past couple of days here. So we want to be careful. What we're looking for the days ahead is a higher low than that. Ideally, it'd be like right here at the 100. That would be great. So for Ondo, I'd watch around the dollar area. If we start to close back anywhere in here, right, it could lead to more consolidation. But make no mistake, Ondo is one of the top charts. So let's give the benefit of the doubt. Where don't discredit the kings too quickly, right? Blue chart, probably green chart now, but still great nonetheless. All right, good first request. Sorry for all the water drinking, but my mouth gets incredibly dry when I yap. I'm not used to yapping. I usually just talk to myself on YouTube videos. Okay, so let's get back to the charts. All right, what is our next one? CFG. Okay. We'll go with KuCoin. Let's try that. Got a little bit of history here. Okay, so the daily underneath the 200. So by definition, anytime you're looking at a coin and it's under the 200 EMA, more importantly, when it's been holding it as support and it's now under it, it's probably going to retest as resistance around the 60-cent level. So that's the daily. That's the spot to flip back bullish. It's trying to climb up the stairs here. Let's zoom in here. Right, so decent formation. We have our low set, high, slightly higher low, slightly higher high. So you can make this really clean and simple if you start to look at that here, right? Put it on line chart. Line chart just does closes if you didn't know, right? Then you can march up the stairs. So the next spot, really, we got to hold right here. Here's the 21 EMA in the yellow, like to bounce, and then we're looking to stair step and make a higher high. Next spot of resistance going to be right there on the 60-cent level. Or, right, we always want to look at both sides of the coin. What's the bearish case is we come back up or don't bounce at all here. And let's say we kind of put in a lower high here and then put in a lower low. Well, then we're probably going to retest these lows, right? So let's be mindful of that. Or, right, like maybe we started this little light uptrend, right? Or this little channel, trending channel, something loosely based on that, right? So let's watch for that. If we can bounce around in here, ideally you can start to split these little channels. if you split the median, you'll start to notice that they start to, if you find a top and a bottom with a couple touch points, as we have here, you just note that you start to weigh favoritism towards which side we start to hold. So you can see here, we started to hold this above the median. So kind of like the Gaussian channel and Bollinger Bands do. Just a simple hand-drawn little channel can start to give you a slight edge to bulls and bears. So I would say the line in the sand here is around the 47-cent mark, slightly rising. So we want to see this again, just like we saw back here. Hold somewhere in here and not go down here. Otherwise, we start to shift. Probably going to test down in this area, okay? Weekly. Let's go out here. Again, closing back under the 21 week. Got 2 consecutive closes about a month ago. And we've actually flipped, the bigger moving averages, the 100, the blue line, the resistance. You can see that wick right to it. That was a pretty big warning there. And not only that, now we're holding the EMA 8 as resistance. So just like you hold EMA 8 as support here on your big runs up, on your moves down, you tend to hold under the EMA 8. Look at that. We haven't closed a candle above the EMA 8 since right there. That was really very brief. Right? We had our chance. That was the bulls' failure to show up. And then this is the result of that. So line in the sand is the EMA 8. Just close above that. And that'll be the first time you've seen that really since our Pico top here. So for this one, your number to be watching like a hawk is 53 cents as of this week. Close above that, things start to brighten because that's the first time in months since you've seen that. Alrighty. Chainlink. Go over to link on the weekly. I put I guess you got to call it tweet, right? A tweet on X. What do they call it? An X on X. The link has to get back above 15, right? That's the EMA 21. That's also, if you go down to the daily, you might find this zone a little bit more helpful, right? You can see range high here. Kind of tried to hold it right here, flipped it to resistance, many days. Resistance again. I mean, this is the level. It's 15. If we want to see Link gain traction for the bulls, it's 15. Otherwise, we're just kind of stuck under here. Look at all the range lows. When's a good spot to accumulate? Well, it's depends on your how long your outlook is here, right? All the people that are waiting for this head and shoulders to kind of play out, well, that would get quickly invalidated if we just close back above 15, right? That's gone if we get up there again. So keep that in mind as well. Otherwise, the head and shoulders target, if you see this pattern here, right? The target here is just above the $8 area, right? If you take the neckline and the measured move, it's down here, which coincidentally is these range highs. But again, Bitcoin's going to have to really kick the bucket. If the lows are in for Bitcoin, the lows are in for Link, very likely. We could very well test a lot of these alts if Bitcoin dominance is going to continue to skyrocket. We might see alts kind of retest their lows. So maybe you see another tap or so of the 200 week around the 1150 mark for Link. That would be probably a great spot. This lower Bollinger Band trying to come in here, right? That's a good sign. As far as, now, a good sign as far as ending this damn downtrend. Maybe not a good sign for the bulls or anything yet, right? The bulls need to reclaim 15 like yesterday, right? So that's what we need to do. We've reigned a range high this week of 1462. You can see clearly in the yellow up here, right, that it's 1503 is that 21 EMA. That's the important level. And I would say we're really not out of the woods until we can clear that whole entire zone. You see these range highs here, right? That's it. So we can start to gain traction at 15, 17. We see 17 Link again. We're going to see new highs again, very likely, very very quickly. So that's what we're looking for. A break, some kind of a low here could very well be right for Bitcoin. If the lows are in for Bitcoin, the lows are very likely in for many altcoins, if not all of them. Hopefully that helps. Next. All right, let's get to render. All right, Bollinger Band slightly skewing the action here. Get this adjusted. All right, so weekly chart. We need to hold this, right? If we're trying to hold this flag formation, still there, but we can't go lower, right? We certainly can't close down here. So we'll see, right? It looks a little sketchy right now, but things can Miss Scusi. Things can change quickly. So render at 638. I know there's been a little confusion with render and render versus the Solana. If you didn't know, RNDR versus RENDER, the Solana based, right? Most exchanges are going to swap that for you. If not, it's not a big deal, right? I think people are overplaying and overthinking this. So they're both pegged to each other, at least for now. Don't panic on that. And I still just I hold this one, RNDR. I think exchanges will slowly swap this over if need be, but I don't think it's. I think it's a non-event. For render to get macro bullish again, it's $8. That would get us above the channel, right? This downwards flag, and it would get us back above the 21 EMA, back above this low, right? That's like this is a resistance line, $8. Look at the pivots, swing highs, swing lows, back to swing highs. That's the number. Get render back above 8, and it could come quick, right? It's not like a tall ass. It's not like we have to do a 17x to get there, right? It's 24%, right? And then things can change very quickly. And when render moves, it likes to really move. Okay, so $1, $8. 2, don't close lower than we have. Or you can see the next level here. There's a range highs. 100 week EMA is also right there, around 460. If Bitcoin's going to go retest 60K or 55K, something like that, then there's a case to be made for alts to make a final approach to the lava pits of hell, which for render would likely be around this level. And that would kind of cancel the flag formation as well. But we're still in it. We'll see what we do this week, see what we end up closing. Watch Bitcoin dominance too if you want alts to start to rise. Bitcoin dominance has been pretty calm. That's a good thing. We need it to round out from moving up and really start to move down, and then we can see alts change on a dime. So it can happen. We saw a couple shades of that over the past couple of days when Bitcoin started to turn back a little bit more bullish, but 55% out of Bitcoin dominance is still high. So if you're wondering why your alts aren't moving, it's just that. No big deal. All right, next question. Appreciate it. Appreciate I like your TA in the cars. Appreciate it. Thank you. Car of the day. I haven't done a video today, but I think I have a car. Aston Martin Vantage S. Excuse me, Vanquish S. This is about 100K more than the Vantage. All right, so there's just the backwards view. I guess I deleted my other picture. Nope, there it is. So the Vanquish S, car of the day. All right, back to the stream. Anything else? Any more requests? Fetch. Oh, we got a couple more. I didn't scroll down far enough in the chat. My bad. Fetch. Go to look at Fetch. $1.38. All right, fib extension on this for Fetch. If the low is in, I mean, look at that $7 area at the 1618. That's pretty exciting. That's a 2x from our highs. And you got the 2618 at 22, 3618 at 70. Now we're starting to get excited, right? Now we're that's pretty exciting. And then I doubt we're getting anywhere near the 423. I mean, even the 3618 would be pretty impressive, right? Let's at least start with the 1618 before we get too insane. So if the lows are in, those are the rough prices, right? I think we went off this last wick. So there's the slightly adjusted levels there. Also, 21 week EMA is the 382, 166. We need to flip that. 21 week, the yellow, right? 163. And the 382 is at 166, okay? So we can turn much more bullish, I would say, if we can reclaim that 618, right? Look at all those low pivots. That support we held like perfectly right across the board, just above $2, 220 area. And then we can start to look at the how high can fetch make it this time. I mean, we get all the good hopium YouTube videos come back. How high can we go? Those are good times. But until then, baby steps. 382, 166. Just take it a ladder at a time. If you want to set up these fibs, just make sure you have log scale checked and make sure you're on log scale on if yours don't match mine. That's like one of the most common questions I get. My fib scales aren't matching up with yours. What's wrong? You have to be log scale here, and then you have to go in the fib settings and make sure the log scale is checked there. All right. Near. I think Near is a good one. Go look at it on Coinbase. If you have a preferred exchange, just let me know the exchange when we do it. So here's our zone taken out. We dipped briefly into the orange. You can see the orange line here. We got a little suspect there. But look at the range low wicks here, matching the range high wicks over here. That's like textbook what you want to be looking at. When you're dropping in price, you want to be holding previous swing high breakouts. Right there. That's what we did. Right at the 50 week. Good sign. Bounce, strong bounce. I mean, from the lows, we're looking at over 60% move already from the lows. That's pretty impressive. Back above all moving averages. Great. Back in this consolidation zone. Fantastic. You're doing what you need to do. You're doing much better than many altcoins. So kudos to Near. You retested the waters, didn't like what you saw, and got the hell out of there. Back to bullish territory. Perfect. So for Near, we're looking at just make a new high, right? I would probably focus that on my target would be like the 8 to 850 area. Break out of that, right? That's what we're looking at. What else are you going to look at? Nothing. You're doing what you need to do. You're back above all moving averages, and you're all-time highs is what you're looking for. Great. AOG. Good coin. All right, weekly. Obviously, mostly downtrend. Not really what you want to see, right? You'd obviously like to see a chart more along the lines of that. That's the inverted chart. There's a shooting star right there. That was a big warning. That closed not great there. A weekly shooting star you probably don't want to ignore. Look at that. Look at that one back there as well. Like a couple in a row here. Back over in February of 2023. And again right there in March, right? The Pico top. High of 2.5 cents. Down still 76%. Step one, just reclaim the EMA 8 at right here. This is the level. And I would argue that there's even a bigger resistance point just ahead of that. I mean, look at all the range. Look at the range support here. All of 2024. This level held pretty great. You had a swing low there, and you had a chance. Right, the bulls tried. Bears are a little bit stronger here. So, step one, EMA 8. Step two, clear that. And then, step three is put in a new high. You have the 3 steps to be watching for, 3 levels right there. Hopefully that helps you get back above a penny, and you'll do just fine. ICP. Better than the U one. I think this was a band 20, 30 years ago, right? All right, so red zone weekly chart. Re-dipped into the red zone. Okay, we held. We got a little bit lower than we wanted. Came back up a little bit. Still nice little rebound. 70% up. Great. But underside retest of the 21 and a rejection off of previous support, just like we just looked at. So a lot of these altcoins are at their kind of their pivots. Are they going to hold here as resistance and go back down? Maybe we'll retest lows again. That's possible. Like for a lot of altcoins to do something along the lines of this, come down, couple weeks, and then just put in a macro higher low before, really breaking out. So it might just be a little too early. If this holds as resistance, now it's fine. If we can break through that, great. Then we can flip bullish. But until we're back above like 11, I would go 11, right? Gotta get. I mean, that's the obvious level, right? You see that. Look how many touches on that zone. High probability that when you have a zone is this strong for support, it's gonna, at least the first time, gonna hold as resistance. So if you've been holding all down here and you got a huge bounce up, maybe take a little off the table and maybe you could buy some more like $8. And if it doesn't, if it goes higher, then you just buy back in, you have a minimal loss. So risk reward is kind of like off the charts. That's exactly what you want to be doing. You want to be selling at resistance and buying at support. Most people do the opposite. Most people buy this or at resistance or, start to buy here because it's getting close again. No, this is resistance. So you can buy right back in and have a minimal loss, or you short right here or sell and then just try to buy back here later or get out of your short here. And then you can really just make an obscene amount of money if you can just stay disciplined enough to do that. And that's much easier said than done. I get it. You have to be like pretty emotionless, but this is pretty textbook setup. So a lot of these coins, even if they're, I'm not saying we're going to be bearish, but maybe they just need a little bit longer, and then we get the move, or we break out and then we hold that support and then go again. Right? We could cut right through this if alt season is just around the corner. I just think alt season's probably 4 to 6 weeks away at earliest. I read the chat and then I can't find the damn straw. I have to look down. I feel like an idiot. I am an idiot. Can't find your own straw after drinking for 40 years. It's probably an issue. All right, Toncoin. I think Toncoin is probably the strongest chart. Let's go see if it's still there. I haven't looked at it in a while. Yep, still rockstar status. So Toncoin is still blue for sure, holding above all moving averages. Starting to lose some momentum though, right? It looks like it. It looks like it's starting to round off here, but maybe that's, for the strongest coin in crypto, maybe that's its consolidation. It's like stretching and then see you later again, right? Until you can close under the EMA 8, like you can't doubt the bulls. There's no warning candles here. There's no gravestone dojis or shooting stars. I don't see anything like that. This is indecisive, meh bulls, meh bears, right? It's like nothing here. That's the most bullish candle that we've had in a while. Some follow through, but most of this is just like kind of some chop here. So where do we want to hold? Well, ideally the EMA 8. Make this a zone. I mean, ultra bulls, you can kind of see this little bit of a zone here, right? See how we kind of held that as resistance and then kind of creeped above it and now starting to hold it as support. That's a great sign. So I would be a-okay as long as we're still chopping in here. We could even wick down wherever. I don't care. Wicks can go anywhere. If you're closing under the EMA 8 with authority, then that's a big warning. Certainly you want to watch the candlestick, right? If you get a textbook shooting star like we saw on one of those altcoins earlier, right? You should take that heavily, right? Take weight into that, especially on the weekly chart. But for Toncoin, there's not a whole lot of things to talk about because it's just like really good. Like it's like the perfect A+ student in class. You don't generally need to check on that one a whole lot, right? They just do well. And that's Toncoin. So I've yet to find a better chart than Ton. If I could pat Ton on the back anymore. All right. Next. Zaxi, Near and Render. I've covered both of those. You might want to rewind a little bit. They're both in there. I covered Near and I covered Render. HNT. Whoops. I'll delete this one afterwards. I added it to the blue chart, but it's not really a blue chart. So we're going to look at it. Downward trend, right? This is the inverse of what you want to do, right? Even that looks a little sketchy, but we're starting to gain some traction, maybe, right? We've at least put in a higher low, right? Here's our lows, right? Looking okay here, but we've look. I mean, this week is probably the most bullish we've been, I would say, since this area. You might say, well, why not here? Well, look where we are. Our candle right now is piercing through the EMA 8. Look at the right angle of the EMA 8. Great sign, right? That looks good. Look back to last time, right? Get these moves when the EMA 8 starts to make these, 90-degree turns. That's pretty good. So we're up 26% this week, but still holding resistance at the 21 where we've been holding resistance since April. Rejection, 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 rejection. Didn't even test it, right? But that's not specific to HNT. That's altcoin wide. Most coins are like this right now. So 460, just flip that. I would say the bigger level where you can get much more bullish is going to be 550, right? This swing low here, swing high here. 562, 565. You want to watch that 100-week EMA as well. But you're doing what you need to do. At least we're making some moves. But it depends on the close. You don't want to see a close back below that. So 370, 374 as of right now. So watch for that for the weekly close. All right. Done CHAINLINK as well. LFG. LFG Chase. Is that a coin? That should be a coin. I should make that coin. Okay. Next request. NIM. Alrighty. Weekly chart. Let's zoom it out here. Get it adjusted. A little streaky here. It's been around a while. Trying to just get my feel for it here, right? I haven't looked at this chart yet. I mean, the pivot point is obvious, the 200 week, right? Since 2022, we're 2 years. We've been battling that. Been pretty flat for 2 years, just a lot of chop. And if you go back to these swing lows, look at that swing high. That's pretty definitive level here. Right there. I mean, going back to 2019, pivot high, pivot low, pivot low. Really tried to hold right there. That was like the one deviation. It really tried its best. Then pivot high again. And right here, we're at it again as of a couple weeks ago. So that's the line. If you want to see this really pick up steam, it's that level. It's nothing else. I mean, going back for 5 years, that's the level. That's the only thing I'd be focusing on this chart for sure. So 21 week, got to hold it. It tried to back here. Look at that. Tried to hold it perfect with support. Then closed below right there. That was your sign. It's just not ready yet. Picking up, right? We have good signs. We have the low. Starting to hold this higher low area. Just need to come back up here. And if you take this out, I think you could see some big things. Because it's been 2 years since you've done that. Over 2 years, right? We're looking back here. It wasn't, the 200 week wasn't even in around, right? So the pivot level right there, I would set an alert. So just like right click, add alert, that goes off, then you know you're about to make some money. Highly probability. INJ. I don't think Moo has enough history. Injective's been making some moves over the past several days. Go look at it. So here's our 3 levels we've had for Injective for seemingly forever. Swing lows. I mean, look, this is another textbook move for a low right at major support line, moving average, the 100 week in the blue. Consolidation, right? The $15, $17 area, went right to it. Bounced off very quickly. Look at the daily chart here. Look how strong that is. Not many coins got that much of a rebound. That's pretty impressive, especially with the market cap that Injective has. 60% on like $1 billion market cap is pretty impressive. But look at this, like almost like a tweezer-esque top so far. We're gonna see how this daily candle closes. If we come back down, we're looking to hold these kind of range highs, the EMA 8, 23 area. Worst case, the 21 EMA, 22. It's rising day over day. You can see like a scenario where these are kind of rolling over like this, kind of right at the same area. So if we move down, we're going to hold that and then, bounce again. Make this nice little flag here. Right? Hopefully we can see that in the coming days. For Injective to really gain some more traction, right? Obviously the next level higher, 31. This is the pivot point for Injective, right? If we take that out, we can flip 30, 31 to back to support. Injective will likely do one of these numbers again. I mean, the moves are so strong, you have to readjust the chart. So Injective moves like this is what happens when you start to get bullish. And I think we could do that again, probably just above 32. We take that high out. You can set some alerts there if you want. But right now, right, rejected the 200, the 200, this pink line. We're right there again. But don't get discouraged if you see us go back down a little bit, because we could very well be forming this kind of like little flag formation and then step up again. All right. Watch it Injective. If you want updates like this, like all the time and not on live stream, you can join our Telegram group. Should be linked below. And I do Bitcoin updates every day, tips of the day, all that kind of stuff in our silver group and through Patreon. All right, Synapse. I knew that was coming at some point. Synapse. Go to the, well, we can start off on the daily. Let's go look at that. The line in the sand, where is it? The 21. Since April, been rejecting out the 21 EMA. Any kind of big move, even these bigger ones, that was a huge move. So in like less than 24 hours, we went 60% up and still held under the 21 EMA. Just close a damn candle above the 21 EMA. Synapse. For the love of God. But look at the consolidation range zone here on the daily. This was, let's see how long this was. We're looking at, 2 months of sideways consolidation right in the same zone which we are currently stuck at again. So if we did that again, hopefully next week's, could happen. Need to hold this. Just get above the 21 and then things can change. Until then, probably in this zone. We can even go to these low wicks here. Potentially. All right, so that's what we're looking at. Let's look at the weekly chart. See if there's anything else more significant. We can do our Fib retrace. Right, so 786, we're right there. So we need to hold that. It's at 40 cents. Close under 40 cents. Maybe we do a double retest down low at 30-cent area. But so far, so good. Higher low. Higher low. High. When we come back up again, right? The high should be taken out. Then we got to zoom out and look at, all-time highs there. Right? So that's what we're looking. 3. I know this is like way out in the future. Could this take this long? Yes, there's like 6-7 months out, right? Not likely. I think if alt season picks up, I think you'll see a lot of coins move much faster than that. All right, there's Synapse. Needs a little help, a little boot kick. But the 21-day EMA, that's where we're at. 48 cents as of right now. XLM. Hopefully everything's sounding good, looking good. Yeah. Go a little bit longer. I only plan to do like 15-20 minutes. Now been 40 minutes. Go look. XLM. That's a giant red candle. Not too bad. It's on the daily. Holding the EMA 8 though. That's where we need to hold. Let's go look at the weekly. Again, test underside retest of the 21 EMA. Underside retest of this long zone. Past couple of years here. Support, resistance. Just flip this back to support, and then you can gain some traction. So flip, 11 cents, and then your next target is this 200 week EMA at 14 cents. And then you'll probably make some bigger moves. Right? And by bigger moves, XLM moves when it wants to, but it has to get bullish first. It has to get into bullish territory. And that doesn't happen until, you can get above your 200 week at minimum. We're looking at, 14 to 15 cents before we can really, get the pedal to the metal there. Range low, right? We obviously don't want to close too many candles in here. Certainly not under it. So you got 3 little areas of interest here. You're at the middle ground. Let's break to the higher and then hold this. If you hold the 200 as support, you haven't done that. And really, you could argue, 2.5 years, right? So that would be a pretty big thing. 14, 15 cents, not too far, not too much of an ask. 30% move, 40% move, and then you can really pick up steam to the upside. AVAX. It's on here somewhere. Find it. All right, AVAX dipped into the underneath our red zone where we didn't want to go, right? Kind of like Link, right? It was making this kind of whoop down here, deviation swing low, but you could get trapped down here. Our next support, look at that wick. Let me go back up here. The wick went right to our zone, which a lot of these alts did, but when our bounce up, we're holding that 100 week as resistance, the 8 week as resistance. So this was critical support, it is now critical resistance. We got to flip back above 33. That gets you back above all moving averages. Then you're really where AVAX takes off is around the 40 area. Take out all the swing highs that we've seen all this year, really, besides this little blow off move. And let's look at the macro scale here. Yeah, that's where it's going to take off at again. And then we're looking at all-time highs. 65 to 160. Yeah, that could happen pretty quick. AVAX moves pretty quick as well once it gets going. But still kind of trotting around. But at least it's out of this bullshit. All this horseshit chop. At least it's gotten up here and it's like at least to phase 2 up here. And then we just like flip up here and there's phase 3 and then we can roll. All right, AVAX. I'll do a couple more here. CKB. All right, CKB on the weekly. Broken down a little bit. Again, very familiar. If we just looked at AVAX, it looks almost identical to this. 21 week EMA is the target. 13 and a half. Then then 1.5 cents up here. And then our range highs. You have these zones clearly marked out here. You don't want to close back under that candle close, or we risk, the risk goes way up for testing this zone. If you lose this again, right? Once is fine. Don't do it twice, right? So that closing is the 9,300 area. So just make an alert there. Even if we come down, that's fine. Consolidate, do whatever. But we come up, get above all these moving averages again, and then we get some more Picasso drawings. All right, so you can make it a little bit cleaner, right? This is still okay. It's kind of losing flag formation, right? We kind of had it, but this is getting a little bit too long, right? You don't want your flag more than half of the pole, which I feel like it's kind of right there. So it's got to kind of hold the line here and break out. And then once we get up here, then we can really probably pick up steam. But until then, you don't want to see any lower prices. And ideally, right, you'd want to have bounced right here. That would have been a great. We held for weeks, and then we just kind of broke down instead of up. So a little bit of consolidation. Alts are at the hand of mercy at Bitcoin. So until dominance drops, at least. So altcoins in consolidation mode. Get back above the 21 week for all these alts. Flip your previous, consolidation or support back to support, and then you're great. Until then, alts are kind of on hold. And that's the story, right? That you're going to see green and red until Bitcoin dominance has a substantial drop, and we just don't have that yet. Let's go look at it real quick. So weekly, if we look at the daily, actually, you can see what I'm looking at here. I think we're going to see a decision point here soon on Bitcoin dominance. Is it going to give up, or is it going to bounce? We kind of have this pennant formation. So again, like just a quick lesson, like people often confuse pennants and flags. Pennants have a move up and then converging lines like that. Flags have a move up and then parallel lines in one direction, right? That's a bull flag. Or, you see a bear flag, right? It would be the opposite, right? So don't confuse pennants for flags and vice versa. And this is a pennant, which often, like which way do pennants break? They often break in the direction which the previous move was. So that is from the underside. This has a little bit higher confidence to break to the upside, although we hope not, right? We don't want to see Bitcoin dominance go higher. We're ready for our altcoins to do something a little bit more substantial. But there is, if you zoom out to the weekly here, right, this looks like it's trying to like lose some power. See this move, how it just starts to kind of round off here? So we're looking for something, I mean, obviously a big giant red candle like that would be ideal for altcoins. We'd really kickstart alt season then. I mean, just anything though. Like look at the significance of some of these candles. Back here. Let's remove this. Remove everything. Right? We're looking for at least something like that. Gravestone Doji, giant red engulfing. I mean, we've just been doing nothing but go up. But look how like little they're getting, right? It's really starting to round off here. So this is why I think alt season's probably on the horizon, but not like immediate. We got to break below here. You can see range highs, resistance, range low support. Just break it down. 54%. We need Bitcoin dominance under 54, and we got a shot. All right. I'll wrap it up there. We'll do more of these. Hopefully things can pick up so we can get some more excitement and more people following here. If you want more content, go to our Patreon group, Telegram, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks so much for watching this long. If you have, 57 gold stars to you. And Johnny Cass has just joined the chat.